Okay, guys. So this is Task 2. So hopefully we are still on the luminance here, and what we're going to really be looking at um, how to change the actual background here. So if I play this footage, it's only 24 frames. Just to give you a quick example, obviously you got your hair there. You're gonna obviously try to retain as much as information we can. And if I give you a overall information on how the sky looks, and obviously I got a picture where obviously there was a picture where there was kind of a sunset coming in, and I've got a nice reflection there as well, which is it came quite natural there. So if I play this back, so that's my sky replacement. Did some tracking points here. So if I show you what I covered, what we're going to be looking at. So if I look at our key node here, you can see that clearly. That's it. And then if I go on my rotor node and press A, and you can see that I've kind of retained as much as the alpha extracted. Um, and then if you can view my normal keyer without the rotor, watch what happens here. So basically I need to retain all this back. Okay, and this way I managed to create a rotor, which you all now know how to do. So if I just simply click there, you can see that that was my rotor. If I just now bring my rotor in here, that's where when you try to extract, make sure that this is all paid, and you're kind of looking at everything needs to be white. Okay, we will be looking at different keyers like IBK Gizmo and Keylight, where we're going to really retain the hair. Really, the luminance key is not really a good key for hair, but I'm just going to give you an example of how to replace the sky. And of course, in this, it was a good exercise that I've kind of rotated that out as well. And I'm going to take you through step by step how this worked. And then, of course, if I go back on my A here, okay, go back on my normal screen A, one, okay, and if I show you this part here, right, and that's the background, and um, use a little bit of a grade there. You can see the difference here, and then reformatted it. You can tell, and then of course reform. It's all about make because uh, my actually background was a different size. If I just press on here, you can see that it was a totally different size, and then obviously I reformatted that, went to 720, then transformed it, just moved that sky around, then defocused it. If I just click on here and just press D, see that? So that's the, looking from here, see that? Okay, and then I tracked the sky. Of course, there you go. But of course, we need to see, always have a reference image around you whenever you're working on stuff. You don't need to go too overboard, otherwise it will look quite unrealistic. So if I just come out from here, and that's more than enough. So if I just kind of bring that in a bit more, perfect. Okay, so let's go and have a look at a real example. I'm going to just take you through this step by step, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so start with, I'm going to just simply copy this read here. So just to give an example, bring that in here. Okay, perfect. And first thing, obviously, we need to know that we don't have an alpha channel on this. So, of course, it's been, by now you should all understand, we need to create an alpha channel here first. Okay, so first thing first, so what we're going to do is, if I just kind of move this tiny bit here so we can kind of see what's happening. So that's where my my foreground is. If I play this back, let's analyze that. Okay, And of course, just remember that, because you're gonna track this image as well. I'm gonna just use 2 tracking points to make sure that we have tracked that. And what we're gonna do now is create a shuffle node, and then bring that in here. Just double click there and just make sure you click on RGB alpha, and that will create your alpha by pressing A. Okay, so that's my alpha sorted. And now what we're going to do is try to see where will be which channel RGB would be the best to extract out the clouds. Okay, so let's have a look at let's go back here. Let's see what's the separation. So I just want to see blue first. Let's see how much we can separate. We can see the separation. So let's go R first, and there's not a lot of separation there. So you can see there's a lot of contrast here. Again, we can kind of see if you want to really zoom into the sky there. So let's go back on G. You can see a lot of separation here, but let's go on B. With the B, with RGB, I can see much more nice separation. So if you look at this part here, the cloud, the actual mountains, let's go RGB is a much more separation part. So usually with extracting, I think B is the best channel for you to extract. Okay, so let's go and use a shuffle node here, which I've done, and we're going to just create a keyer node, which is basically what we're going to be working on. So if I just press tab, keyer, okay, I'm going to just simply plug that into my footage, and I'm going to just go back to A here. There we go. Double click and press 1 through obviously view through my luminance keyer. Now remember, we were looking at we looked at RGB channel, and we could see a much more better separation on the channel blue, if you can see that. So that can be nicely separated, where green was a bit light, red not 100% sure because that was contrasting with the clouds there, but blue was giving a nice separation. Okay, so what we're going to do now, double click on your luminance key, and then where it says the operation, remember we were talking about red keyer, green keyer, blue keyer. So what we're going to use is your blue keyer. Okay, and let's go back to my normal mode, which is, if I just go back here, and as soon as I start tinkling with my range, watch what happens. So if I just kind of bring that in there, and what I need to do in the first place, make sure that you are on alpha channel, because remember we are extracting out. There we go. So as soon as I bring that close, see that, so I can really see it's within seconds I've kind of retained my extraction. So that's now transparent, and that's opaque. So obviously we will invert that in a minute. Let me just bring that in. See, that's the white is coming really nice. So that has to be kind of the opposite side. So we're gonna have that there. So I think I'm pretty much okay with that. Let me just kind of, so I don't have to worry about twinkling with them, with D either. So I'm pretty much okay with that. So that's my channel done. And what I'm going to do, I have to inverse that. So looking at that, I'm going to simply inverse this channel. So now this is my transparent, this is my opaque here. Alright, so now if I play this back, what I'm left with is this. Okay, most of the part is okay. I'm happy. We can obviously cover the clouds with this part here. We can obviously again rotor that as well. which would be good if you can experiment with that. But let me just show you what I've done here. So here I need to really get that um, get rotor, get a mass rotor in, because what's going to happen if I play this back? So if I'm playing this back, I can't actually see anything at the moment, because as soon as I press A here, sorry, excuse me, if I press A here, I can see where the artifact's going to be. So all this black, when I'm extracting that, that'll be transparency as well. And really, we don't need that. We actually need that to be a solid matte. Okay, and to start with, what I'm going to do is to show you, for example, if I just go and bring it A here, and I'm just going to add a pre-mold. And watch here. So here, all these black, we need to retain them back. We need to bring them back. To start with, I'm not going to use a merge node. I'm going to just simply create a rotor first. So let me just kind of create a rotor node. So if I just, oops, rotor pane, okay, and just bring that in, double click there. And what I'm going to do is merge this node. So if I just have a merge node, and basically I've got just blue just to connect that there. So just double click there, and what I'm going to do is simply press on A, and I'm going to just get a Bezier tool and start creating a shape. So, and I'm going to just do a rough one because I've got a rotor already done for this. I'm going to just pick that rotor and bring it in here, and you can see what's happening. I'm already retaining all that space there. So if I look back here, if I just kind of bring this out, let me just delete that. Let's do this again. So just double click here, and just go back to our main frame here. Just double click, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can come out a bit more up here. There we go. So I've retained that back. Okay, so here what you have is I've retained my main foreground, and obviously I've got my background still as an alpha channel. So if I just go back here, okay, so now we have got a rotor, my keyer, okay, which is a blue keyer we use because we were using the blue channel because of and then we got your merge here, and now I'm going to see how can I transparent this. So if you just double click on here, at the moment you can see it's over. You just have to go in and then press on number 1 to view this. See that? And then if I undo this rotor, just do a D there, you see that all this will affect. So if I just play this back like this, see that all that is going to be related. See what I mean? So what we need to do is make sure that we rotor that kind of step by step, and I think in this case tracking wouldn't work. So what I've done in this exercise here, if I just play this back, if do this, I've gone in kind of step by step. I've kind of did a rotor. You can see that on here. So what I'm going to do is to make this tutorial flow better, I'm going to just simply copy this rotor here to give an example. Okay, so I'm going to just pause the video and just quickly do that. So pause. Okay, so what I've done is I've just simply copied out the rotor from here to kind of get this video as short as possible so that we don't drag it. So see that. So if I just kind of put D there, and at the moment I've kind of deselected that, and you can see that this part there, and you can obviously see I'm using the feather, retaining all the feather there, and then as soon as I do this, if I just start working on, see that's where I've done my rotor. Okay, and remember last week when we were talking about, in Paul was talking about it, that that you would always use rotor in wave form. So this is one of the things where you're actually kind of creating a garbage match, and then this way you kind of really going precisely in it, and then start working towards it. Okay, so now we're gonna grab this guy. So what I'm gonna do is simply copy this guy, because we're gonna use the same sky, and you can read there as well. But if I just copy that, bring it here, and what I'm gonna do is create a merge node again. Okay, and then that's our B background, and that happens. So what is, if I just kind of make that nice and neat, sort of bring this down here, so then because it got stuff. So there we go. So that's my background here, and because of the size, so if I just go on my normal size, which I press my S, and that's a 720, and I've got 24 frames. So this is this image as a normal sky, normal image. So if I just press 1, that's 720. But the sky is quite a huge image. So what we're going to do is take a reformat node, and that will automatically translate to the footage here, which is 720. So let's do that. So let's press backspace, sorry, tab key, and you go reformat, and do that, and there we go. It's gone back to its normal apply. So just double click there, and I can tell that output has already been changed. Okay, so if I just click back on here to put on my merge, and you can see that I've got my my key there, and of course there's some work to be done. Of course you can look at the hair as well. Okay, so once we are happy with where this image is, so if I want to, for example, where, if you can see on this image here, if I just go back on my here, still click there, and you can see that I've got my sun coming from that direction here, and I think I did move this transform node, isn't it? So let's kind of bring that up a bit more. There you go. So I can actually see that the sun is right at the back there. See that? So that's really nicely resembling the actual shirt there. See that? So if I just go back on my normal image to work with, I can use a transform node now. So on my background now, remember, always name them like I've named on here. So just make sure that you go here, transform node, but just double click on here, and then you can see these pointers here. So you can see I can rotate that, I can scale it, I can skew it. See that? So you can skew. So it's quite a lot, really good options here. Okay, so let me just come off from here and go back. There you go, back to normal. So let's double click there. I just want to literally move so I can actually see the sun. Here we go. What I can do is even scale that a little bit more. And move that up a bit. There you go. So that's where I would put in. But then again, if you're doing a sky replacement, it's always good to do some referencing imaging, see what's happening. This is just to kind of give you an example of how you can obviously do a screen replacement. So now what we're going to do is try to get a edge blur node. So if I just go back on my main foreground tree, so to say. So if I remember that we're looking here, so if I just go here, edge blur, node, double click there, and I'm going to just simply go up here. See, already I've got nice kind of hair retained there, so I can just double click on here. So let's double click, and I can choose, let me just come up from here, double click there. Another move size 3, I can go in, see that, so just kind of give a little kind of edge there. And of course there are other keys as well where you can really retain the hair, but at this stage in time I'm actually quite happy with that. So just go in a bit more. Let's do 2.8 something. So pretty much I'm okay with this. That's looking good, and it's already looking quite nice. But obviously, and I'll show you how we can kind of match a little bit of color. So basically we're gonna really take the blacks and the white and then kind of match the actual sky itself. Okay, so at the moment I'm happy with that. So now what we're gonna do is try to track the shot, because at the moment what's happening, I've kind of, see, that's, if I play this, that's moving, but the sky isn't. So what we need to do is track our foreground, find some tracking points, and then connect that to the sky. So however it's kind of moving. So basically I'm going to kind of use 2 tracking points. I'm going to just do tracking point from here and somewhere there, and we can just see how that works. Okay, so we're going to bring a tracker node in now, so to track this. So if I just do tab and tracker, there you go, so I've got tracker there, just connect that just to show you an example. And what I'm going to do is simply, let's have a look, go in, and maybe I can just go on a lot and just kind of bring that in so we can see nice. So obviously I can reset that. I just want to make sure that I can get some pixelation. So there we go. So I can try using that point here. We can track that. There you go. So I can use this part here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is simply go here, make sure that I'm starting from the front, just double click there, go to add track, and then move that here. So the space would be somewhere down here, which I'm happy with. And I'm just gonna do a frame by frame. So let's see, there you go. It's pretty much sticking there. I'm happy with that, and it's done. There we go. So that's my first track. They've all done. Okay, and sometimes what you can do, which obviously you can see, it is a smooth track there. What I can do is select all of that and go on my, go on my transform, and you can see the smooth there. So I can just simply click on number 1 to see how much smooth I can get. So if you see that, so that's a yellow line up here. So that's a nice smooth there. But let me just go 0.5. So just don't want to add. So let's just go 1 again. Let's try that. So that's fine. So I can kind of smooth that track as well to make sure that it gives you a nice kind of smooth there. Perfect. I'm happy with that. Now let's move on to somewhere down here. So let's see if I can track somewhere there. So let me just get rid of the, oh, sorry, excuse me. Somewhere track it here. What I'm going to do is simply go on the same tracker node and add a track. And this time I'm going to just use this pixel here. Let me just gain that up a bit more, lighten that up. So let's see if we can kind of get this. There we go. Oops. Get this pixel in. So that's going to be my pixel where I'm just ready for this. Let me just bring in my pixel image in. So just bring that. So sometimes it's really important for you to change the colors, change the the LUTs to just kind of see how you can kind of bring in. So that's the area which I'm going to be tracking, which is absolutely fine. I'm happy with that. And that's my, so I'm just going to just bring that in a bit more. There we go. And again, I can just simply manually track it in. Okay, let me just go back here. Happy with that. Still looking okay. Okay, let's go back. Perfect. Again, I can select all of this. Sorry, excuse me. Select this and kind of, if I just undo that, smooth that off. So transform. Bring that in. Sorry, I don't know why my track is wrong. There you go. Select and smooth there already. That's perfect. And what I'm going to do here, just go on the tracks there and rotation. So if I just simply click back up here and just simply go back on these points, if you just click back, that goes back to normal, and go back on your Y as well, which takes you back. So now I'm happy with my track points, and what I'm going to do now is if I just double click here and then go on my settings. Sorry, excuse me. Go on my transform and go transform. And here what I'm going to do is a match move. Okay, so when I click on the match move, that tracker has got the match move kind of translation. And what I'm going to do, because I'm not connecting that anywhere, I'm going to just literally bring this tracker node and plug it in here on my foreground, sorry, on my background. Okay, so I'm going to just repeat this process again. So what I did was I did my tracking, which we all are very used to, and we are used to kind of connecting that, and then we double clicked, and remember when we were tracking in on the rotor node, we were making sure from the rotor node it's all connected. But this time what we're going to do is simply double click here and go to transform, and go to transform here and do a match move. Just if you even click there, that will be the match move algorithm there already. And what I'm going to do is simply bring this track point down here, and as soon as I bring that, let's have a look. Let me come off from that and just play this back. Okay, the sky is now obviously moving alongside the actual track. See that? So there we go. So I'm pretty much happy with that. Perfect. Okay, so now once we are happy with our sky, what we're going to do is try to match something which is quite important, because if you can see here, that's this image is sharp and our background is sharp as well. So we're going to kind of defocus the sky now. So what I'm going to do is bring a node in again. The focus, there we go, and I'm just going to click on here, and if I just zoom in and start bringing in, see that? So I can kind of, it's kind of giving an illusion of a depth of field. So I'm going to just kind of not go too over the board because that looks very odd. See that? So if you just go bring it down a tiny bit so it doesn't look out of space as well. So if I just kind of bring it in a bit more, there you go. So I'm pretty much happy with that. So if I just kind of bring it as D, see that? So that's a very subtle change there. So if I just bring it from, let's say from here, which these two, see that? So that's a good example. There we go. So obviously now you can see that you got the depth of field happening there. Okay, great stuff. Right, so let me just go back on that. So I'm happy with this part now. Okay, so the last what I'm going to do is simply bring a grade node here and just, oops, excuse me for that. Just tab key and grade node and bring that in. And I'm going to just simply bring my black points down a bit more. Oh, sorry, high. Move up the intensity a tiny bit, so it's more like. So I just want to kind of really match this part. See that? So that's there. Oops. Okay, so let's go back here to. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy. I mean, there's a lot of tweaking to be done. Please have a look at, especially the edge blur node. You can kind of tweak that more, a bit more. If I just kind of bring in a tiny bit of blur there, more. There we go. Pretty much happy with the shot there. So overall, I think what we have kind of achieved here is to really get you understanding how really this cure node works in a very effective way as well. So overall, if there's any questions about this tutorial, please give me a shout. But please do experiment for this lab today so that you can move on to a different node. Okay, thank you.